We're looking now at Chapter 7, Section 2, still talking about universal gravitation now. So what we're going to do today is we're going to explain how Newton's law of gravitation accounts for various phenomena. Phenomena means things that happen, including satellites, planetary orbits, falling objects, and the tides. So Newton was the first one to see that the forces that hold planets around the sun is a centripetal force. So each little planet has some centripetal force pulling it towards the sun that gives it its rotational motion. It is the same force that causes an apple to fall to the ground, and we know this is the force of gravity, or the gravitational force. So remember, gravitational force is a field force, so it acts at a distance. And what gravity actually is, where that force comes from, is there's an attractive force between particles of matter. So any two things that have mass, if they have mass, no matter how big or how small, they will be attracted to each other. So this is what sets the planets in motion, essentially. The planets have mass, the sun has mass, and so they're all attracted to each other. And the masses are so big that even though the Earth is so massive, you've got this force pulling it in, and you have some tangential velocity here, and so it orbits around the sun. So an orbit, that word I just used here, orbit is a word that means the regularly repeated elliptical, which is kind of like a circle, okay, course of a celestial object, okay, this means like planets and stars, okay, or spacecraft like satellites about a star or a planet. So anything that circles a planetary object or star orbits. Now, what Newton said that was really interesting is that objects that are orbiting are actually in free fall. And you have this picture in your textbook, but he had this thought idea, if you shoot a cannon, it follows this path, right? And if you shoot it with a little higher velocity, it'll fall a little further away. And so he wondered if you could shoot it fast enough, it would eventually just keep falling, and as it kept falling, it would fall all the way around the Earth, okay? Because you'd have this force always pulling it in, but its tangential velocity would be enough that as it fell, the Earth would curve at the same rate. So, I also want to think about what causes the tides. Okay, so we have the moon that circles around the Earth. Right, and water can move and flow. And so what actually happens is wherever the moon is, the water on the Earth wants to move towards it a little bit, and the Earth actually gets a little less around as the water is pulled out towards the moon. So if the moon was over here, right, then we'd get more water flowing up here and down here. And that's what ultimately causes the tides. So that is Newton's laws of gravitation and some of the effects that it has on the Earth. And we will look at a little bit of math in the next video. Thanks for listening.